All right, so I think I did a video not too long ago, maybe yesterday, day before yesterday. I did a video, and I think it was Kendall Gill speaking on LeBron James and Michael Jordan and what he thought about the GOAT, and he mentioned Kareem and stuff like that. And I no, it wasn't even Kendall, it was Ray Allen. And I said I liked the way Ray Allen broke it down, and the other person I liked the way they broke it down was BJ Armstrong. So BJ Armstrong weighed in on it. This was years ago. He was on maybe Dan Patrick on his show. And of course, BJ Armstrong played with Michael Jordan. He played against Michael Jordan when he went to Charlotte. He met him in the first round. He tried to bust he did bust his behind one game, maybe game 2 or something like that. But Mike came back and destroyed him. So, but it's interesting how he breaks this down when speaking on LeBron and Mike and the GOAT. And I'm going to play it for you, then I'm going to come back with my commentary.
Your thoughts on this comparison of Jordan versus LeBron James would be what, BJ Armstrong?
Well, I can see from a fan perspective the comparison, right? They're both wing players. You know, LeBron's about 6'8", Jordan's about 6'6", and they've both been the most dominant players in their era. But when I look at it, and I look at it from the detail as a player, as an ex-player, they're two totally different players. LeBron is a facilitator. LeBron initiates. LeBron will do things that I don't think Jordan was asked to do, but more importantly, I don't think he had to do it. You know, LeBron will initiate the offense. He'll score a little bit. He'll rebound a little bit. He'll do all the things within the team. Michael Jordan was a scorer first, second, and third. He was a phenomenal finisher of the game. And what I mean by that is Michael Jordan stopped playing the game. He stopped having to facilitate. He didn't have to do all those things. He just finished the game. He finished it. He was, I think, the game's greatest finisher because he had no weakness in his game. When he played the game, especially in the fourth quarter, we refer to him as a three-dimensional player. He's either going to score, he's going to get fouled, or he was going to go to the free throw line and make the 2 free throws. And not many players can do that in the last 4 minutes of a game. Jordan was the best. He was just three-dimensional in every way, every phase of the game, especially coming down the stretch. I think LeBron in this year's playoff run, I thought he has done a much better job than he has in years past at being a finisher.
Well, the answer to that would be he has to because you know, Pippen is a top 50 player of all time. You know, other than Dwayne Wade in his entire career, who else has he had in that regard? I know Bosch.
Well, you know, the way the game is played, you know, the game is just a different game today. I would have loved to have seen LeBron play in our era, but I would also have loved to see Jordan play in this era because Jordan wasn't a 3-point shooter. Jordan wasn't a shooter per se. He was a scorer. So it would be fun to really see how they would play the different styles. That, you know, if I put Jordan in this era, no hand checking. I mean, the guy averaged 37 points a night with hand checking. What would that translate into today's game where you can't touch him?
45.
But then I would love to see LeBron with his physicality that he has, because he physically, I mean, he's just an imposing figure. I would love to have seen him play against those physical.
Would have somebody with an arm bar right in the small of his back.
I would have loved to have seen how he would have played against the Charles Oakleys and the Rick Mahorns and the Buck Williams and the physicality of the game. So it would have been fun to play, but without question, I want to say this about both. LeBron James is this generation's best player. And I think Jordan was clearly that generation's best player. Now, who's the best? I think I'm biased. I would say Michael Jordan, just because mentally what he was able to do, and I knew him. Michael Jordan is not going to back away from any level of competition or any, you know, player that comes up. I think LeBron James would meet the challenge because he will pose some problems for a player like a Jordan, any player, because he's 6'8", 260. But I would have loved to seen the matchup, but I'm going to say Michael Jordan without question.
Is it really?
Michael Jordan without question. He said a lot of things there, right? I want to address, I can't believe I forgot who it was, man. I hope it's Dan Patrick. I hope I ain't getting it wrong. I think it is Dan Patrick. It might be. I don't know. One of those ESPN analysts that got their own show. It's like 3 of them. I can't remember all their names. But he was giving a little bit of pushback, and he was like, "Oh man, like you know, when BJ Armstrong said that Michael Jordan scored, and he said that he didn't play the game the same no more. He was playing a different game. He, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm gonna explain that. But his response to it was, well, LeBron has to facilitate, because BJ was saying, LeBron, Mike didn't come down and was like, I'm not gonna micromanage this team and feel like that everything that happens on offense, I got to do it. You get what I'm saying? You ever met a manager that micromanages? Like I'm a manager and I hire someone to be the night shift manager, but at night I'm at the store too because I don't feel comfortable. Like I got to micromanage everything. No, you don't. There's no reason why you're putting a team around you that's going to rely on you to be the primary scorer and the primary facilitator. You got to pick one. And I always explain how when Michael Jordan, the year before Phil showed up, Michael Jordan was playing point guard the second half of the season and averaged a triple-double the second half of the season. And it wasn't just a 20-point triple-double. It was a 35-point triple-double as the point guard. His numbers was insane. If Mike would have continued to play point guard, his numbers would have been insane. But he probably would have won less, right? And the style of basketball that LeBron plays is harder to win that way. Kobe Bryant explained that. It's harder to win that way. Your margin of error is so small. And that's why he always have to stack his teams, because that style of play is really not winning basketball. But when you have a super team, it don't matter what style of play, you always got the advantage on the floor. If you have Chris Bosh and Wade and Ray Allen come off the bench and Rashard, like think of it this way. The East had put LeBron out of the playoffs. 1 year was I ain't gonna call them a big three, but it was a trio of Rashard Lewis, Turkoglu, and Dwight Howard. Right, that was their trio. Rashard Lewis was a bucket, and he was the first person that was actually a three playing four, because that's what Stan Van Gundy wanted. And the 3 points they was putting up with Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis while the screening roll was being ran and Dwight was diving to the hole, catching alley-oops. And if you had to rotate on Dwight, then you leave Rashard Lewis. That trio was really good. And they had put LeBron out of the playoffs the year prior before he went and joined Miami. He took Rashard Lewis from Miami and weakened that team. Like, so imagine if you have a trio that you rely on and you take one and put it on your team, on top of taking the trio from Boston, all in the East, of Ray Allen, and putting it on your team. And then he went over to the West, and it was a trio over there. It was Mike Miller, Gasol, Pau Gasol before he went to the Lakers. Pau Gasol, Mike Miller, and I can't remember Jay Will. It might have been Jay Will. That was their trio with Hugh Rebound coaching it. He took Mike Miller from that trio. So every team that had someone that was important to them, he kind of because people don't realize that it just wasn't Wade and Bosh that he joined. Now he didn't get all these guys the first year, but he had Wade and Bosh, and then he handpicked. Let me get Mike Miller, let me get Rashard Lewis, and then the next season let me get Ray Allen. And most of his competition got weakened. Now Bosh came from the East, from the Raptors. He weakened that, and then him leaving Cleveland weakened Cleveland. So all these playoff teams, Raptors, Heat, Cavs, Orlando, and Boston. That's 5 teams that were competitors. He took himself off of Cleveland. He took Bosh off of Toronto. He took Rashard Lewis off Orlando. He took Ray Allen off of Boston, right? And then he joined all at the Miami. And so you just got this one super team in this weak East. He did all of that. And then on top of that, he grabbed Mike Miller from the West, right? So it was diabolical what he did, but it was a genius plan. But my point is this: that style of offense is so flawed that you have to surround it with so much talent in order for it to work. And even when he had all that talent, he went up against freaking Dirk Nowitzki with no other all-star and lost with that super team. And then lost to an old Tim Duncan with Ginobili and Parker and Kawhi. right? People don't talk about that enough. So when Dan Patrick or whoever he is was talking about, he got to facilitate. No, he don't have to facilitate everything. Wade can facilitate. Wade was averaging almost 30 against Dallas in that final series, and he was facilitating. Guess who was playing off the ball that series? LeBron. Because the game plan for LeBron was to give him 6 feet and make him shoot jump shots. Don't double, make him shoot jump shots. And if he did get past that wall, because they the same way Miami is doing Giannis in the playoffs, that's what the game plan against LeBron was. And he couldn't get to the rim. He has to get to the rim, especially back then when he couldn't shoot that well or consistent. So you build that wall and you got this 7'1" guy, Tyson Chandler, that was ready to block shots. If he do get past the wall, I'm there. And then when Tyson Chandler sat down, I want to say they had Eric Dampier. I can't remember. Either Eric Dampier or Diop. It was one of them. Can't remember. Had another big guy coming down there. We're not letting you come down here and destroy us at the rim. So what he averaged 17 points that series because the offense is flawed. He can't shoot. He couldn't shoot. He can shoot now. He couldn't shoot. The offense is flawed. I have to have a super team in order for it to work, or at least a co-star who's an automatic bucket. They can shoot from anywhere, and that's what Wade wasn't. He was an automatic bucket, but he wasn't a shooter like someone like Kyrie Irving. But these are the automatic buckets he had beside him. We talking about guys who can go for 30 or 40 any given night. Wade and Kyrie, and now he got AD who can go for 40 any night, who shoots better than him as well. He has to have automatic buckets. Pippen was not an automatic bucket. He was a daggone good player. He was a great defender. He was a high IQ guy. He was in shape. He was smart, right? He could play, but an automatic bucket, Pippen, I don't even think Pippen ever scored more than 30 points in the finals. So Pippen wasn't an automatic bucket. He was a daggone good player though, but he wasn't no Wade, Kyrie, AD type scorer. And then when you look at Luke Longley, he wasn't either. Rodman wasn't either. Steve Kerr barely got in the game. He wasn't either. Paxson wasn't either. BJ Armstrong wasn't either. Judd Butler got regular rotation minutes, and you don't even know who that is. Jason Caffey. Who was that? Randy Brown. Who was that? He don't have to get automatic buckets on his team. He was the automatic bucket. As long as you play defense, we good. We in a triangle. We know how to move that ball around. We good with that. That's a difference. And when BJ Armstrong said that he plays the game different, he's a finisher. What that means is that, and he wasn't always like this, because I think when you watch The Last Dance and he talked about how Phil Jackson came and said, look, we go put the triangle offense in and I'm taking the ball out of your hands. You're not the point guard no more. He didn't like that. He didn't want that because he enjoyed scoring 30 and a 35-point triple-double. He enjoyed that. He enjoyed doing all that work, just like Luka enjoyed, just like Westbrook and Harden enjoyed, just like LeBron enjoyed. That's a powerful drug when everything is orchestrated by you. Either when you shoot, it's coming off my pass, and when I shoot, I'm calling my own number. I can do what I want. Everybody is just clearing the floor. That's a powerful drug to back away from. So he didn't like it, but he did it. And the reason why he did it so easy and so seamless is because he has the skill set to do it and come off the ball. Kobe has the skill set to come off the ball, and they could play in that triangle. And what that does is when you take your star player off the ball, you empower his co-star or another role player. So now Pippen can be a point forward. But if Michael Jordan was the point guard, then Pippen wouldn't be able to be a point forward. He would have to be a guy that's waiting for a pass just like everybody else. And it's not good for you to put your role players and your co-star in that situation. So the comment about him being a finisher and playing the game, he wasn't even playing the same game with everybody. He was playing a totally different game. We go. You ever played spades with someone and they bid their hand just right, and you know what I'm saying, he got 5 books, partner got 3 books. We definitely going 8. Right, or we might even go 10, and we go figure this out, and it looked like you're not gonna get it, and then just right on time on the last book we get out we get our 10th book or our 8th book. right? That's how MJ could play the game. We'll run this triangle offense all 3 quarters. If we blow y'all out, cool, I get to sit down for the 4th. But if the game is still close, guess what? Me and Phil got an understanding. We can run the triangle. We can do it his way for 3 quarters, but if it don't work, I get to do it my way. And now he get to go into Michael Jordan God mode and score relentlessly. And that's how good he was. He could take over at a snap of the finger. It wasn't like, oh man, I feel it today, I'm hot. Nah, it was if he got motivated, he's automatically hot. He could be cold, and when it's game time, when it's show time, when it's crunch time, I'm hot now. You can't stop me. He could turn it on that easy. Totally different type of player. But the comments about him having no weaknesses, very true. On both sides of the floor, no weaknesses, very true. And that's very different for LeBron, because LeBron weaknesses was on display when teams decided to back off of him 6 feet and let him shoot jump shots, and that's how we go win. And you go only average 17 points against the Dallas Mavericks, right? So that shows a lot of weakness. So I like how BJ Armstrong kind of broke it down. It might go over some people's head, but when I keep hearing this, the more I hear players that played against him and watch him and played with him talk about him, I keep hearing this phrase of he had no weaknesses. I heard Robert Horry say it. He had no weaknesses, right? BJ Armstrong, like so many people say he had no weaknesses. You can't say that for a lot of players. And you definitely can't say it for LeBron. We know what LeBron's weakness is. I put LeBron on the free throw line, it's a wrap, especially in the 4th quarter, right? If I back off of him 6 feet, it's a wrap. Not so much now. It's year 21. I want to say the last 2 or 3 years, he been consistently. Well, the last 2 years, he's been consistently hitting that 3-point shot, right? But that's after years and years of trying to get it right, and years and years of people just leaving you open because they don't think you can hurt them from there. Same thing that's going on with Giannis right now. We don't think you can hurt us from there, right? And that 3-point shot is either gonna be a 3 or a layup or a dunk. That mid-range game, that post game, you're just not gonna get a lot of it from LeBron, because that's parts of the game that he didn't master. It's been weak for most of his career. He probably strengthened some of it, but not he didn't strengthen enough for it to be considered a strength, right? And what a strength is not showing me you can do it from time to time. I'm talking about when it's crunch time, can you rely on that? And when there's 2 minutes left, the shots that players usually takes are the ones they're more comfortable with. And there's a lot of shots that LeBron would rather not take when the game is on the line because he's not comfortable with it. Michael Jordan and Kobe, they comfortable with every shot. It can be a 3, it can be a jump shot, mid-range, it can be a float, it can be a fadeaway in the paint. It can be everything. But they didn't go to the hole because they knew it wasn't going to be no fouls called. They knew if they go to the hole, they can get fouled and they wouldn't go call it. That's why Michael Jordan developed pulling up at the mid-range on their elbow. Right. So, but I don't know, man. That's my thoughts on it, man. The last thing I say, the comment he made about him being a scorer for a second and third, that's because that's the most important thing in basketball, right? If we came out on the court and played perfect defense, both ends, if both teams played perfect defense, and when that final buzzer sounds, the score is 0-0, who wins? Nobody. So scoring is the most important thing because the team with the most points wins. So the most important stat in basketball is scoring. The most important attribute for your star player to have is scoring. There's no max player that's not a scorer. Right? We pay top dollar for scores. Right? It's important to basketball. You have to score to win. So that's more important. Right? And what's the second thing that's most important? Defending. Right? Because we have to stop the other team from scoring, because if we played perfect offense and there wasn't no defense and the score is 100 when the final buzzer sound, we got to go into overtime, and we'll keep going into overtime until somebody can stop somebody and have more points. So you have to score more and you have to stop the other team from scoring so you can have more at the end of the game. So scoring is number one, defending is number two. Those are the main objectives of basketball, scoring and the defending. So when you're looking at players and you're evaluating them to see which one is better, it's going to be based on how they score and how they defend. All of that other stuff, right? All of that other stuff is just is kind of fluff, and it's results of both, right? We brag about assists and be like, oh man, this dude had 10 assists. That's great. Well, assists is 50% on the person who passed and 50% on the person who made the shot. It's really more about the person who made the shot, because if he don't have a ability to make that shot, like if I drive and I get double teamed and I kick the ball out to Shaq at the 3-point line, I'm not getting an assist. But if I kick it out to Kyle Korver or J.R. Smith or Kyrie Irving wide open, someone or Steph Curry, someone wide open, they have the ability to make that shot. I don't understand why we see an assist and automatically say that the guy who got the assist is you know, is the only person involved in that play and the chief person involved in that play. No, what's more important, does that person have the ability to make that shot? So if I'm passing out to a shooter, I need to he needs to be a shooter and have the ability to make that shot in order for me to get the assist. So even assist is relying on scoring. You can't get an assist without scoring. So even assists are relied on scoring. So scoring is still the top dog. And as far as rebounding, we see a person with points, rebounds, and assists, and we be like, oh man, triple double, amazing. But guess what you got to do in order for you to get a rebound? Someone has to play good enough defense to force a missed shot. You can't record a rebound without a missed shot, and missed shots come from defense. So scoring and defending are the chief stats, and the stats that are below it are rebounds and assists. So we're rewarding LeBron James and saying that he deserves to be in the GOAT debate because he is majoring in minor stats. The major stats are points of scoring and defending. The minors are rebounding and assists. He's majoring in the minors. It's a reason why Steph Curry made more than John Stockton. John Stockton is one of the best passers we ever seen. He ain't Steph Curry. Scoring is king. It's the reason why Steph Curry is better than Rondo and CP3. It's the scoring. It is what it is. It is what it is. He's majoring in the minors, right? So I like the fact that my best player can pass and rebound, but when I'm reevaluating players, I'm not going to say that this player is better because he stuffed the stat sheets, because I can care less about rebounds and assists. Want to know why? Because I let my point guard get the assists, and the whole team is responsible for assists. Team assists is more important than individual assists. Like right now, Luka Doncic, you know, he's averaging 9 assists a game. That's great. But guess what? His team is 25th in assists, below the bottom. What's the point of you being a great passer if it don't translate to your team being a great passing team? Now, when you look at a team like the Spurs, or you look at a team like Golden State, when they was firing on all cylinders, everyone is responsible for passing because the offense is a free-flowing offense, and anyone can make a play for anyone. But in Luka's offense in Dallas, only Luka makes a play for everyone. And then when Luka don't have the ball, Kyrie can go make a play for somebody. But for the most part, their offense is relying on whoever their best player is, who has the ball at the time, to break down the defense and either go score or either dish out to a shooter that's sitting at the 3-point line waiting, just standing there. And that's not good because you relying on one or two guys to get all of your assists for your team. And at the end of the game, your team is averaging 23 assists, or a team like Sacramento or a team like Indiana is averaging 30 plus assists. I want the team assist, I don't want my individual player to get assists. So when you see a player that's your primary scorer padding his stats with those assists, it's a red flag. It's a red flag. So yeah, I don't use points in this. I don't use assists and rebounds to determine who a better player is. I don't use stats at all, right? Stats for me is not what I start with. I start with who the better player is based on how I evaluate players, scoring, defending, and then putting those abilities to the test at the highest level on the biggest stage, playoffs, champion, finals. How did they perform? How did they take those gifts and those attributes and use them and showcase them? Right. That's how I look at it. How often they won. All of those things. Now, when it comes to stats, well, what if I could win without getting a triple double? Why would I go for a triple double if I can win without getting a triple double? People talk about efficiency all the time. Efficient is getting a certain job done with the least amount of work. So if I can, like BJ Armstrong said, Michael Jordan was playing a different game where he was finishing games. He didn't have to go out there and try to pad his stats for the whole game. Nah, look, we go run our offense. My team go do their thing. I'm gonna score when I need to because I can score anytime I want to. I'm gonna score when I need to. And then if it comes down to the fourth quarter, I'll take over. That's the game he was playing. If MJ wanted stats and he wanted the stat pad, it'll look different. He wouldn't be playing that game, right? You got to think about that. If I can win without getting a triple double, why would I go get one? It's unnecessary. My point guard can get those 10 assists, or my point forward and Scottie Pippen can get those 7 to 8 assists. I can get my 35 points. He can go get the 7 to 8 assists. And we both are primary at something. I'm primary at scoring. He's primary at distributing. Why, if I got a good player on my team, why would I take both of those roles and be primary at distributing and scoring and make him secondary in everything? That's not how you do it. You get something that you do primarily. I get something that I do primarily. And then we both play lockdown defense. But the way they're doing it now is your best player, he's going to be primary post player, primary distributor, primary scorer, and the point guard. He's going to be all of those things, which leaves his role players to just be catch and shoot players. And then on the other end, they'll use the excuse of I'm doing everything on offense, so I should be able to take a break on defense. And they'll go guard the worst player on the offense and make everybody else play lockdown defense while they're playing free safety Ed Reed back there in the corner on a 9-shooter. And then when the 3-point shot go up, like there's a lot of threes shot in this era, when that shot goes up, they're in the right position to grab the rebound just to fall in their lap because it's a long rebound. Nobody's battling for rebounds in the paint no more. They're just falling in their lap. It's based on who can get to the ball faster from the corner. Everybody at the 3-point line. So the rebounds ain't even impressive. So just think about that. I'm doing all this on offense, and then I get to relax on defense and then snag uncontested rebounds. Now I'm just getting all these stats, and at the end of the game, I'm close to a triple-double. And this era of basketball just falls, just melts when they see a triple-double. It's not about that. It's not about that.